multiple ordered pairs in polar form to represent the same point. So example, find 3 other ordered pairs in polar form that represent the point -2, pi over 4, given in polar form. So let's graph that first. Let's graph this point, -2, pi over 4. So I go through the theater of graphing the terminal side of pi over 4, even though I know that r being -2 sets me in the opposite direction. The opposite direction is down here in quadrant 3. So I end up being over there, and I walk out 2 units to mark my point. And so now it says find 3 other ordered pairs that will send me to that same point. So one thing I notice is that if I use a positive value of r, it needs to be a 2 because I'm 2 units away from the origin. But I can use just the angle 5 pi over 4. Because if my r value is positive, then I want to use that true angle. Okay? What about keeping 2 positive, but traveling to that terminal side clockwise? That gives me the angle -3 pi over 4. Okay? Well, what if I wanted to use that -2 still? Well, -2 says, hey, I got to kind of trap people and send them over here in quadrant 1 first, even though I know I'm going to kind of shoot them backwards into quadrant 3. So if I'm trying to get them to go to pi over 4, one way I could do that would be to call that -7 pi over 4. Okay. And then I go to -7 pi over 4. I go, great, I'm here. And it says, actually, sorry, I'm shooting you back into quadrant 3 because of your negative r value. And then I get back to that same point. So here are 3 points that will all represent the original point. So they would all send you to that same point. So in summary, if I'm given a point with polar coordinates r, theta, it can also be represented by either of the following ordered pairs. R, theta plus 2k pi, that just means keep r the same, and then coterminal angles of theta. So take theta and add sets of 2 pi, or subtract multiples of 2 pi, and I would still be going to that same point. Or if I change r to be negative, then I've got to be off by just pi here, okay, to start with, because these 2 angles are, again, just a pi rotation away from each other. Then I can do sets of 2 pi once I have this angle established. Then I can add or subtract multiples of 2 pi from that. Okay. So example, plot the point 4, 3 pi over 4. Then find 3 other sets of ordered pairs that meet the following conditions. So first it says plot this point. So go to the terminal side of 3 pi over 4 here in quadrant 2. And then go 4 units away from the origin. Mark the point. So part A says, now find an ordered pair in polar coordinates that meets the following conditions. And, of course, goes to the same point. Okay. R has to be greater than 0. Well, because this point is 4 units away from the origin, the only R can be is 4. Now it says, find the angle between 2 pi and 4 pi. Well, 3 pi over 4 is between 0 and 2 pi. So what I'm going to do is add 2 pi. 2 pi is really 8 pi over 4. So this is 11 pi over 4. Am I sure that that is between 2 pi and 4 pi? You can always check. 2 pi is 8 pi over 4. 4 pi is 16 pi over 4. Is 11 pi over 4 between that? It is. And so here is a point that meets those conditions, ordered pair that meets those conditions, that also gets me over here. Okay. Now it says find a point, or find an ordered pair that would get me to that point where r is less than 0. Well, again, because this is 4 units away from the origin, r can only be 4 or -4. So in this case, it's -4 because r has to be less than 0. And then it says, well, find a angle between 0 and 2 pi. Well, in my summary up here, it says to change the sign on r, first add pi. Okay. So I have 3 pi over 4 to start. If I add pi, that gets me to 7 pi over 4. And then I can check, is that what I want? Because if it's not, I can add chunks of 2 pi or multiples of 2 pi or subtract multiples of 2 pi. Well, 0 is 0 pi over 4, and 2 pi is 8 pi over 4. And 7 pi over 4 is certainly between those, so I have found it. Okay, this one says, hey, r is greater than 0. I go, great, it's a 4. But now the angle needs to be between negative 2 pi and 0. So what I'm going to do is take my 3 pi over 4 and just subtract 2 pi. Because if r is staying the same, then I just subtract chunks of 2 pi or add chunks of 2 pi. I'm subtracting because I need it to be between negative 2 pi and 0. So that gives me 3 pi over 4 minus 8 pi over 4, which is negative 5 pi over 4. Negative 5 pi over 4. Okay? And I'm done.